As we appreciate the coach of Sac State men's basketball for joining us here, Coach David Patrick. Coach, come on, man, talk to us. We're here. This is what we're here for. This is what we do, man. We get on the air. We talk about our feelings. We talk about the things that are going right. We talk about the things that are going wrong. It's a 4-hour therapy session for all of us, Coach. What's on your mind?
I just left my therapist, man. So, hey, man, when you lose 4 in a row, it's tough. But the one thing I say, and I'm being honest, like we've got better as we've lost the games that we've lost. And because we lost at Hawaii, which is a blowout, which is hard to. It's hard to travel to Hawaii and win games in Hawaii. It's a hard turnaround after playing a good UC Davis team. But these last 2 games. Southern Utah in double overtime, and then Santa Clara, who's very, very good, losing to them in the last probably 2 minutes of the game, showed me some growth, but also showed me that it's hard being a head coach, man.
Coach, I looked at the schedule and I'm following, and it's a pretty aggressive schedule, right? Some tough teams. You talk about Santa Clara, obviously Hawaii. There's no pushover. There's no Portland Bibles on the schedule. I ain't saying no names. I'm just saying there ain't no Portland Bible on there. Yeah. Is that like kind of your philosophy with building out a schedule now and moving forward? Like you want to test these guys as much as you can before league play?
I want to test them, but not as much as they gave me the test when I took the job, man. So, but I definitely,
Portland Bible next year at the Nest.
So next year you'll see a bunch of Bibles on there, but all kind of things, Bibles, Qurans, anything. But but yeah, you know what? I think it gets us ready for Big Sky play, which is what you want to do. And the teams we've played have been very, very good. Obviously starting off at UCLA, and our one win, not just our one win, but one of our 2 road wins was against Denver, who's very good. They're top 25 in the mid-major poll. I think they're 8-1. Coming into this place tomorrow. So we've played very, very good teams. And now it'd be at least good to play on our own home turf against a Division I opponent in Denver tomorrow night.
Yeah, Coach, they're looking for payback. And that game's going to be here on ESPN 1320. But how do you keep that stuff in mind? We're talking about this as the Kings get ready to hit on the road. They got Cleveland coming up. Like Cleveland's going to feel like they owe Sacramento one. When you have a game that was as tough as that one that you had against Denver, and they haven't lost since. How do you mention that? Like, no, hey, they've been game planning for us. We got to make sure we execute the same way we did last time.
Look, I think our guys are cognizant that game came down to the wire at Denver. They're very well coached. They're big like us. They get the ball in the post like we do. And so they're well coached. It wasn't like we blew them out over there. We had to make a big shot, like a desperation 3 towards the end of the game to beat them. So I think our guys are aware of that. I think they got the message yesterday in practice about who we are and identity. I'm not for moral victories. Yeah, people may think we played Santa Clara close, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to win games. And I think our guys got the message in practice. And I know they have that burning desire inside to go out and get back in the winning column. So tomorrow, I hope will be a fun challenge against Denver.
For those who don't know, my Portland Bible dig was, a little Portland State thing. They played Portland Bible a couple weeks ago, another Big Sky opponent. But I ask you that, Coach, because I know how I am, but maybe not everybody's wired like that. Do you kind of keep track of what's going on in the preseason for the other teams in your league? Do you kind of watch their games, flippantly? Like I said, I watched that game against Portland Bible just because I want to get familiar with these other teams in the Big Sky. But do you do that as a coach, or are you, more focused on the first game that's or the next game that's up on the schedule?
Look, my staff definitely does if I don't. So they let me know who's winning and who's losing. And, you try to stay focused. But, I was down in the dumps and I saw we were like tied for 3rd or tied for 2nd in the league, So other teams in that league are playing a strong schedule like us. But you just want to see where the Montana State's kind of the bar. And you want to see where you are in comparison to them. I think they beat Southern Utah by 2 or 3 the other night. You see Portland State beat Oregon State twice, Pac-12 opponent. So you kind of try to measure yourself where you are against the league. So I'd be lying if I didn't, but you're trying to focus on us.
Yeah.
If you need another scout coach, you got one sitting across from me. He gets distracted during the show watching Big Sky replays. So if
I got you, Coach. I got you.
A week, man. We may need another player.
Well, we were discussing his eligibility earlier. As long
grad student.
As long as you don't need a guy to play defense, coach, you got a shooter over here. That's for sure.
And then with some of these jokers.
How are you though? Like I'm close with someone who became a head coach for the first time a couple of years ago, and she won everywhere that she went, and it was an adjustment that first year to get your ass kicked by an opponent in the ACC, and I know you've won everywhere that you've been, and it's got to be an adjustment for you now, coach. Dealing with the struggles of this young team.
It is. I will say that first year at Riverside kind of gave me a glimpse of what year one's like, and I got to bring myself back to those times, because that first year is hard, man. Trying to change culture, trying to get used to new administration, the players trying to get used to me, the coach. So it's hard, and so I got to remember that sometimes. Obviously, as a coach, you want to have quick results, but that's not the deal. But it's some sleepless nights, man, when you're taking some losses, but it's because I care, because we care as a staff, because our players care. But it's tough, man. You ain't lying. When you're used to winning, you got to remember what losing feels like, and at the same time not be comfortable with it. You got to get back to what's winning, and that's why they brought me here.
It's become, sorry, Casey, it's become so cliche, but it is in fact a process. Like you've got to trust the process. You got to believe in what you're doing and what you're building.
No, for sure, man. And I spoke to one of my mentors this morning, Johnny Jones, who's my head coach at LSU and was at Texas Southern, and he's just like, DP, you got to go through it to get to it. Meaning you got to have these close games, and the next time you're in it, get over the hump. Like there's some stuff that had come up in games that we haven't even game planned for. We're on practice 47, I think, today. And some of these teams have been together, 200 practices. Some of these coaches have been in these programs for 6, 7, 8 years. And so I got to remind myself of that sometimes and just keep plugging away.
Well, another reality of a coach, and it's not an excuse, but it's just the reality. I mean, you guys ain't been home in a long time, man. It seems like 3.5 weeks. You guys are finally playing a home game. Last one was like November 18th or something like that. So you finally get home for 2 games this week. You feel like the team is kind of like, we're glad to get back to the nest and do this, because you guys been on the road a lot lately.
Look, I think they are. The good thing is we got some guys that have been in this league before, Zach and Cam Wilborn in particular. So they know the ups and downs of this journey at Sac State. And we got some other guys that have come from other places. So they know it's a long season, but being at home and sleeping in your own bed, it's just a little different, man. Being able to practice in your own gym tonight, the day before a game, rather than be on a plane, all that stuff helps. And to have friends and family come watch these guys, you're hopeful that they put their best foot forward tomorrow night and represent them and the city of Sac.
Well, Coach, I know you're focused on Denver tomorrow, man, but Casey and I really love what the program has been doing. You did it at the Golden One Center, and you're doing it again this weekend, where you and the women's team are playing a doubleheader. And Coach, that women's team is playing really well, man, and we've been trying to push. Hey, you want to spend you want a Saturday watching ball, man? Get out there and watch the Sac State women and then the Sac State men on Saturday.
Yeah, I believe they're at 1:30 or 1 o'clock, and then we're right after them against Long Beach State. But Coach Campbell's done a great job there with that program in year 2, and that's why I'm hopeful that program looks like that in year 2. To be 6-1 against the opponents that he's played is kudos to him and his staff. So I mean, it's a fun time to be at Sac State when you look at Coach Taylor's football team playing Friday night, and then us 2 teams playing on Saturday. Good weekend to be a Hornet.
Absolutely. I'm getting out there, Dane. I'm gonna be out there on Saturday, man. I'm gonna check that out.
Oh, you gonna get out the house? You think you're getting let out the house?
I talked. I've negotiated with wifey, and I'm like, I know the little baby here, but just give me a couple hours, man. So I'm gonna get out there. I'm gonna get to the nest on Saturday.
Please do, man. Yeah. Maybe you can stay a little longer if we get the win. We can make a pit stop on the way home somewhere.
Coach, we appreciate you, man. Good luck tomorrow against Denver. Again, you can catch that game on ESPN 1320, but we're following along, man. We're watching. We appreciate you.
Thanks so much as always.